So today we have a counting principle, which also called count your choices and multiply. You may have seen these questions on some standardized tests before, like a restaurant serves 5 main dishes, 3 salads, 4 desserts. How many different meals can be ordered? Now you could think about it and be like main dish 1, salad 1, dessert 1, main dish 1, salad 1, dessert 2, main dish 1, salad 1, dessert 3, and that would take forever, right? Or you can kind of know the key here. Did anyone know the process is we just multiply them together. That's all we do. 5, won't write for me. 5 times 3 times 4. And 5 times 3 times 4. Come on. 5 times 3 times 4 is 60. 5 times 3 times 4 equals 60. Perfect. How many ways can 4 books be arranged on a shelf? Well, how many choices do you have for the first book? 4. How many choices do you have for the second book? 1 book's already been put down, so you only have 3 choices, then 2 choices, then 1 choice. So you have a total of 24 choices. A, B, C, and D are making a 4-letter password. Here it said the letters can be repeated, so how many choices do you have for each blank? 4 times, because each blank could be an A, a B, a C, or a D, right? So altogether you have 256 choices. How many ways can the first 5 letters be arranged if each letter can only be used once? You got A, B, C, D, E, right? 5 choices for which letter goes first, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, or 120 choices altogether. So you see this difference between letters or numbers being repeated versus not being repeated. And that's important all the way down. So license plates, 3 letters, 3 numbers. Here it says you can repeat. So I got letters and numbers. How many letters are there? Do you remember? Right, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. And since I can repeat, it would be 26, 26, 26. 26, 26, 26. How many numbers are there? 26, 26, 26. You know how many numbers there are? Everyone thinks at first 9, but it's actually what? 10. Why? Right, because you can have a 0. And then believe it or not, that's 17,576,000 combinations of license plates. Would it be less or more if they said no repetition? Well, you'd have 26 choices, but then you couldn't use whatever you had first, so then only 25, and then only 24, and then 10 choices, and 9 choices, and 8 choices. So altogether, only 11,232,000 choices. So repetition being allowed gives you a lot more options than not allowed. Each question is always a little bit different. So here I've got 5-digit numbers, and the digits it said can repeat. I'm using these 5 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if the digits can repeat, I've got 5 choices for each blank, or 31, 25 choices. What if the digits can't repeat? You're getting the hang of it now, right? They can't repeat. I got 5 choices, then 4 choices, then 3 choices, then 2 choices, then 1 choice, so just 120. The last 2 questions, right, these are a little bit trickier. Now we've got the same 5-digit number, but now it says it wants that number to be even. So what makes a 5-digit number even? A 5-digit number is even if the last digit must be even. So how many choices do I have for the last digit? Only 4. The digits can repeat, so I got 5 choices for everything, but basically the last digit can't be a 7. So that's why it's only 4 choices for the last one. How many 4-digit positive even integers are there? So again, the last digit has to be even. In other words, a 0, a 2, a 4, a 6, or an 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices. These can be any digits, 1 through 9 plus a 0, so 10 choices. And what about the first digit, though? It can't be what? Right, it can't be 0. You can't have a 4-digit number start with a 0. So you only have 9 choices there, so 4,500 choices for 4-digit positive even integers. So related to counting principle is linear permutations. It's basically the same way, like same thing. How many ways can things line up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is now 8 baseball players, but it could be 8 books, or it could be 8 people, or it could be 8 whatever. If they can't repeat, you'd have 8 choices for who's first, then 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. And if we multiply those out on the calculator, it, believe it or not, is a giant number, 40,320 ways, 8 things, people, whatever, can line up. Books, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 books on a shelf, same concept, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's only 5,040. So you may or may not know that there's an easier way to do this on the calculator, and it's called factorial. Have you ever heard of that before? Factorial is an exclamation point, and 8 factorial means 8 times 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7 factorial means that same thing. And that is under math. And then if you scroll to prob, then you'll see the exclamation point. So you could put in the number like 7, math prob exclamation point, and it'll give you the same answer. These questions are all a little bit different. 8 members of a family seated side by side in a movie theater. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the dad must be seated on the aisle. So let's say for sake of argument that there's only one aisle, and then if the dad has to go there, how many choices do you have for who goes on the aisle? Right, 1. And then once the dad's out of it, then you have only 7 people left, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 7 factorial again, or 50, 40. How many ways can a bridal party line up? If there's 6 attendants, the bride and the groom are in the middle, so you got 3 on one side and 3 on the other. So the 6 attendants would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what about the bride and groom? How many ways can the bride and groom line up? Well, there's actually 2. They could be bride and groom or groom and bride. And if you multiply all that together, we're at 1440. So you just got to think about each little situation. The next one is a classic first, second, third problem. So we have 10 people, and we're just awarding first prize, second prize, and third prize. So you are not ordering the whole group. You're not ordering all 10 people. You're only ordering 3 of them. So this is 10 times 9 times 8, or 720. Same thing with the gold, silver, bronze, right? How many gold medals can you give? If there's 7 skaters, well, 7 people could get the gold, but only 6 people could get the silver, and only 5 people then could get the bronze, which is 210. These questions can be done on the calculator with what we call NPR, which is also under math prob. So you'll see math prob and then NPR. NPR is, N is the big number, like the total number of objects that you have, and then R is the number you are putting in order. The number I'm putting in order. So back to number 5 for a second. Another way to have done that problem is to say it's 10P3. There's 10 people, but I'm putting 3 in order. 7P3. 7 people putting 3 in order. And we'll talk more about that. Cat mom problems. How many ways can you arrange the letters in cat? Well, you can kind of write them because it's only 3 letters, right? If you write all the combinations of the letters in cat, you get 6 choices, 2, 4, 6. But another way to think of that was you had 3 choices for what went first, then 2 choices, then 1 choice. But what about mom? It also has 3 letters, but are there 6 ways? There's only 3 ways. Why? Well, because you have 2 M's, and if you switch these 2 M's, you never would know, right? So this is kind of lending itself to our formula where you take the total number of letters, factorial, divided by the number of repeats, factorial. Number of letters, factorial, divided by number of repeats, factorial. So back to the mom question, it was 3 factorial for 3 letters, but because you had 2 M's, those were 2 factorial. And if I multiply those out, I get 3 ways. So when you have a word like stereo, there's 6 letters in stereo, but there's 2 E's. Total number divided by repeats. And you could type that on your calculator as 360. Another one, daddy, is 5 letters, but 3 Ds. Now, if you don't want to type that on your calculator, you also could just write it out. That's what 5 factorial means. That's what 3 factorial means. Cancel what you got, and then 5 times 4 is 20. Grand finale is Mississippi, has 11 letters, but this has a bunch of repeats, so notice the parentheses. There's 4 I's, 4 S's, and 2 P's. And that has to be grouped in parentheses when you do that on your calculator, and it's still 34,650 different ways. So I know that's a lot of notes on linear permutations and counting principle.